truth behind SpongeBob SquarePants. As we lead into this topic, I bet you heard about the TV show SpongeBob SquarePants. You know, the show about a talking sponge, a SpongeBob who goes on the adventures with his dumb friend, starfish friend, named Patrick. And always unluckily, Squidward. There's a Krabs, the money grabber, also known as the miser, and the scientist Karate, the master squirrel, named Sandy. Everybody knows about the show and how popular it is, but they don't know the truth behind it. SpongeBob and his friends are actually the ghost of the humans that forcefully had to take over their bodies of the sea creatures to survive. Out of they have visions of the buildings and structures from their previous lives. I will now explain the backstories of the five main characters as I talked about it in earlier times. SpongeBob was originally a kid named Bob. Bob was a nice kid. I was just helping others and always trying to stay out of troubles, but often he did get in trouble, taking the rap for what other kids did, and often accidentally tripping someone trying to help them. One day in 1920, while riding his bike, he accidentally went down a steep hill and fell off, putting him into a coma. After 2 weeks, he eventually died and had a proper funeral. In his sea creature counterpart, he still is a very nice and still gets in trouble guy. Patrick, in his life, was named Joan. Joan was a couple years younger than Bob, and they have actually very close relationships together. They lived in the same neighborhood and often played together. In the early time, back in 1980s, he was hit in the head very hard, giving him brain damage and an occasionally inability to think. Then for the last 5 years, he was always getting into extreme trouble, often hurting people, and was friendless to everyone except for SquarePants. Then, in 1923, he was having a moment of stupidity and climbed onto the roof. He tripped and fell off the roof, cracking his head and eventually killed him. In his sea creature counterpart, he still acted dumb, and his only friend was SpongeBob. SquarePants. Human name was Dane. Dane was the sore thumb, never playing with other kids. He was at that time very lonely. He always feels lonely, with no friends except his clarinet and teddy bear, Zippy. Dane had a severe heart condition that would eventually lead him to the end. His heart was so weak that if something surprising him, he would startle. He could have a heart attack. On a night in 1930, he had a dream where Zippy was murdering him. It scared him so much that he woke up with a severe heart attack, which killed him. In his sea creature counterpart, he gets he still gets scared often, and his only friend is his clarinet. Jim. Now we're leaning to Jim. Jim was the name of Mr. Krabs' human counterpart. Jim was the friend of a wealthy family. who lives in the very luxury things. He owns the Mr. Krabby's the restaurant. Despite his family fortune, it was a money grabber, also known as a miser, and a pickpocket, often taking people money and running off with it. He was always behind the rest of the family, having a mild mental condition. He also really loved the piggy banks and the cash registers, and owned a pet whale and a large fish tank. Because of those issues and oddities, he was laughed at by his whole family. His family had a big vault where they stashed all his money. And in one day, in 1953, when Jim was inside, jumping for joy because his family getting $1 billion, three huge bags of money popped it from a high shelf in the vault and crushed him to death. Therefore, in his sea creature counterpart, he still hogs the money and has a whale daughter named Pearl, being his whale pet. Now let's talk about Sandy's. Sandy's the human counterpart was originally named Sally. Sally was the teacher's pet. She was always the winning the science the fears and often got an A plus. Due to her intelligence, kids would come to her at recess and ask her to fix their math problems. Sally was a black belt in karate, often beating all her students. She would also make many costume fireworks at the country club, which gaining her major popularity. Sally was on the top of the world in karate one day in 1969. Sally was a fighting master. She was doing well until she got kicked extremely hard in the chest, breaking her ribs and making her unstable to breathe. This eventually killed her, even though she isn't a sea creature. In her squirrel form, she was still able to build her tree dome and be a karate and a science master. There are, overall, there are many other sea creatures who contains the souls of the dead children. They yearn to see their families again and a home for their previous lives. Maybe one day when their fish form death. These mournful souls will take over the newborn baby of their previous mother. If they cannot, however, they will be trapped in a fish body forever, roaming along across the seven seas. Thank you for your listening. Please drop a like, comment, and subscribe. Like the usual, stay tuned for more. And I'll see you guys there. Bye.